Namaste, Jai Bharat. We knew right from long time that people used to call Bharat as Viswaguru. Even if no one else knew it, at least we knew it right from childhood that the expression Bharat as Viswaguru, that means the teacher of the world. Teacher is a smaller concept, much lesser concept than the concept of Guru. Guru is an overall teacher, complete teacher. So, it's teacher to the world. And this expression goes on. We have been hearing it right from the childhood and even as adulthood. But it's not easy to understand the very concept of Viswaguru. But as you grow old, into academics and universities and teaching, even then, this concept does not become very completely clear to us. It took a long time, much time, and continuous interaction with many others in this direction, that certain things comes to surface level of our minds. There was a time in Bharat that we had about 7 lakhs Gurukuls. A Gurukul is a university. We call it as Gurukul, or someone who writes in English would put A and call it as Gurukula. Maybe its original is Gurukulam in Sanskrit, but subsequently we call it as Gurukul also. Now these Gurukuls are larger and smaller. Smaller Gurukul and larger Gurukul. Now the difference between this huge, larger Gurukul and smaller Gurukul, that is larger university and smaller university, is very subtle and interesting. For instance, the Gurukul at Takshashila was a large Gurukul. Vikramashila was another large Gurukul, and Nalanda was another large Gurukul. We have 2 universities in Nalanda today. And my friend who was the vice chancellor there some time back, and unfortunately he expired very recently. That gave us a shock. Professor Vaidyanatha Lap was a very close friend of me. We are similar, same age. He was unwell. So suddenly his memories came. What a pleasant person. What a great scholar. So we have larger Gurukul like larger universities in Nalanda. My village used to be also a Gurukul, but a very small Gurukul. Now the difference between larger Gurukul universities and very smaller Gurukul universities is very subtle, as I mentioned earlier. The smaller Gurukul are places for specialization, super specializations and hyper specializations. Now they had such ideas of specializing into one branch, super specialization, and also the very subtle kind of specialization with complete possible exploration of knowledge, that I call as hyper specialization. So my village was one such, which is called Sri Mola Vasa. I don't know much about it because no records, except some instructions I got from my father. He was involved in understanding this, and those days, very many years before, if I am right, he wrote an article about that. In those days, the Hindu was a majestic newspaper. So such smaller is very serious, and larger is larger for all subjects. Like the modern universities we have, what we have, with almost every department. My university used to be one such. Almost every department, including fine arts, performing arts, etc. No, everything was there. Is there, rather, is there. And that larger Gurukul, like Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramashila, etc. And smaller Gurukul, whose names we do not know. They were all specialization. And people from all over the world used to come to these Gurukuls to study. Now, there used to be people at any point in time and at any point in space, that's place, where people, those who wanted to know things more, that thirst, longing for knowing, was there with the mankind, though the percentage is very less, and in different places at different times, the percentage will be much lesser. At some places, the percentage will be little more, but there will always be, there had always been a percentage of people who wanted to know things more than what's available to them. So those people, those who are affluent, those who are capable of moving about, have reached Bharat. Now, those days traveling is not taking a flight and then sitting in and say the flight takes 4 hours. That we are not used to traveling long time in a flight. Personally, I would not go to more than 1.5 hours maximum. That beyond that, I get irritated, but should not have been the case, but do get irritated. Now, those days, they used to travel from one corner of the world to the other corner of the world. And they travel how? In whichever means available to them. Some kind of vehicles, which may be either horse or even bulls, whatever. And that's a very long time taking process, traveling in such manner. And in the meantime, look at the experience that they gather from point 1 to Bharat. They are coming, and the richness of experience that they gather and internalize. Because first of all, you must understand, these people are transparent people, transparent in the sense receptive to anything new. They have moved from their houses, the comfort of their villages, to newer areas to face everything, to know more, to understand more. So such people are like blotting paper. They will gather knowledge. So it's mandatory and fundamental. During such process, they learn language. Whichever area they travel through, it's natural they have they learn those languages. I'm not telling that they will master that language, but they will have or gather functional knowledge of such language through areas where they travel. And they come to Bharat and select one of the universities, spread all over such a mighty nation with large area and such vibrant society. Each society is unique in its own vibrance, knowledge tradition, and expression of knowledge traditions through arts, music, dances, whatever. All this music and dances could be traced back to Vedas. For instance, music is traced back to Samaveda, and dances could be traced back to Yajurveda. And these are so old. Old in the sense we are not talking about the antiquity, we are talking about it had been existing with us, as built inside us, and we are born into such situations and live through such situations. So they come with such transparency of receiving everything. So when they reach Bharat, it's natural. They study the functional language, and studying the functional language is a kind of intense study, because here the language, functional language, is Sanskrit. Here they have to learn and discuss through Sanskrit. And the greatness of the language, that's the greatness of the first greatness of the language is that Sanskrit is that it can speak much more in very small words or very small sentences. Through minimum talking, maximum is conveyed. That's the first beauty of Sanskrit. There are many much such beauties in Sanskrit. You can put any word at any point in a sentence and it would still mean the same, such things. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, though I have a lot of friends who are serious Sanskrit scholars, but coming to the point, they have come. And then these people, those who studied with the others, remember the word with others, they were not different. They were all equal, mutually respecting, with equal status, whether black, white, blue, green, whatever. Wherever they come from makes no difference. An aspirant of knowing is an aspirant of knowing. See, comes, they learn from here, and then of course, when they find it's okay, they find satisfaction in knowing, they return back to the societies, most of them. And on returning, this knowledge is like a fire. It has to burn and it has to give out light. It gives out light. Went back to the societies, spread whatever they have studied in their own manner, with their own improvisation, and told others, and they're telling others, then becomes a collective, a collection, group of thinkers, doers, knowers, scholars. And then the world civilizations developed. You take just one point, one postulate, and then you can conclude of yourselves. You pick up any world civilization or all world civilizations, you will find that these civilizations are specialized in 1, 2, 3 or few such areas. Few such areas. They have done excellent, they have improvised upon it, and they have had development, fine. But is there a single civilization in the entire world which talks about complete knowledge, in the sense which has not left out any department of knowing, if I am allowed to say that, any department of knowing, any branch of knowing which is left out? No. They are all focusing on to this area, that's all. But the Bharati knowledge tradition, these days we have a lot of exercise getting on Indian knowledge tradition, IKAS people discuss. They are actually the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition. This knowledge tradition had left no aspect or department or direction of knowing untouched. They have explored into every possible aspect of knowing. This I need not to stretch further. You just experience yourselves, you understand. So this Bharati knowledge tradition had brought in every possible nobles to knowledge and worked upon it, and those who came from outside picked up things of their choice, went back, explored, went back, and further developed. That's what make Bharat Viswaguru to bring out the implication that the entire world knowledge originated from Bharat. Others have some idea of expectation, but if you sincerely trace the origin, you will have to get it connected to Bharat. Many examples are there. I need not to illustrate through examples. My point is not to establish something. I do not want to say that everything began from Bharat, so we agreed. No, that's not my objective. It happened to begin from Bharat, and we indeed are happy and proud about it. But then that leaves us with the Herculean task of living up to the level of our ancestors, which has not quite been done at many places and can't be quite done at many places. So we have this responsibility. I used to simply speak in simple language and say, it's difficult to become a Hindu. It's very hard to become an appropriate, authentic Hindu. You just can't say that I'm a Hindu and keep quiet. You have to have that great minds of the ancestors, which lets you call yourself as a Hindu. Similarly, when you say that we are proud, then the responsibility is not forgotten. You have to live up to that level, and then you see that how much each one of us miserably fail approximating the our ancestors. We try, and many of us have succeeded. Many of us have succeeded. There are many who succeed to become one like the ancestors' great mind without doing academia. They are not involved directly in academia, but they have had the quality. Somehow it was inbuilt, implanted in them, inbuilt in them. I cannot say this is beyond expression, my ability to understand. One example is my present Prime Minister. Look at him. Every aspect of everything is mind cause, and wherever there is some thing to be addressed, he does that. This is called the dynamic, magnetic kind of personality, which he had inherited from same ancestors we have, but how others are miserably failing. Not all can do it. Only select few can do it. Even in the ancient times also it was like that. Only select few could live up to that level of transsensorily knowing. So this talk will go on unendingly, so I will conclude. This is a option of, question of understanding. What is it to say that Bharat is Viswaguru? Yes, of course. Viswaguru means this, and much more than this. But then you just can't take pride of things without being responsible to the qualitative existential import of the ancestors of yours and mine. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.